Hey, what's going on? How y'all doing out there today? This is your Uncle Steve on a Monday Minutia episode here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Thank y'all for joining us today. Woo, it's been a rough 24 plus hours as the Atlanta Falcons took one on the chin yesterday, 30-0 to our, I guess, newly nemesis, Carolina Panthers. I had a chance to see it up front. And my thoughts are probably the same as your thoughts. And like, wow, what a stinker. And who would have thought that was going to happen? Well, I don't proclaim to have the remedy, but I would like to have somewhat of a therapy session to see how we can get to the next game before firing everybody in the building and not having anybody to play against the Washington Commanders on week 4. Let's get back, talk about it here in Uncle Steve's Lounge.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Gonna sit down, have a good time. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge.
Man, oh man, oh man, what a misery Monday here in the Monday Minutia here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. Appreciate y'all joining us here. Thank you for joining us for our usual episode of Monday Minutia, where last week there was this joyous feel throughout the fandom of the Atlanta Falcons. And this week we are trying our best to talk people off the ledge when it comes to what do you think about what's going on next. And I'm going to dive right into the comments of everything, but if you want to know just my initial feelings, even last night, and I had the pleasure of last night, yesterday afternoon, went to the game. I had pleasure of the company of my brother in arms, Big Low Country Sports. Y'all know who he is. He was there with me. We witnessed it together. We had a dialogue going up to the game. We had a dialogue coming back from the game. And as you saw yesterday, if you saw the emergency coaches meeting yesterday after the game, you can see where his feelings were as far as that. And I will admit, there are a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the Atlanta Falcons. Is there an issue with the offense coordinator? Is there a disconnect? It seems like it, yes. You can't go from, going down the field and albeit at least scoring field goals to scoring not 1 point. I was looking at Taryn Wack from the Falcons. She does a lot of the Falcon stuff on their website. And I was asking Lo about that. I said, man, did we even get in the red zone? She said, we did not get past the 31-yard line yesterday. Now, there also comes a time when you probably just have to say to yourself, you know what? The better team just probably won yesterday. And I do feel like Carolina came out. They were 0-2. They were desperate. They needed the game. It was their home opening. They came out ready to play. It was not a full-packed stadium yesterday. It wasn't like it was this welcome home, Panthers. We got your back. I would say it was probably about 75%. But for whatever it was, whatever motivation they got yesterday, those players were ready to go. Now, in contrast, I was talking to Lo about the difference between I had the pleasure of getting to see the Minnesota game the week before. And louder experience, more intimidating experience, in my opinion. and a crowd that was in that game pretty much until halftime, until they saw the end coming. And the Falcons on the sideline, the players were in it. They were in it. They were live. They were feeding off of that. I just saw energy over there. I'm a big believer in momentum. And I think when we came down there, that first drive, Mike hit a couple of passes. Forget about that first drive. He actually hit a couple of passes on that one. And we marched down there and stalled out and said, you know what? Let's go to our 5-for-5 kicker. And he doesn't do the job. And then came back again for a longer kick and didn't do it again. I know that there is this, whether you go on radio, whether you go to the local paper, whether you go to even some of my fellow podcasters, whether they're in their double wide, whether they're in their insane asylum, whether they're in their mom's house, whether they're doing whatever they're doing, that everybody wants to burn the house down. Get rid of everybody. Game 3. Sit down Michael Penix. Bring back Kirk Cousins. Fire the OC. Fire everybody. That's how you do it, right? That's the impulse. It was 30 to zip. You embarrassed our honor as fans, so you don't deserve to be on the field. Got news for y'all. That wasn't the worst game the Falcons ever played. Definitely not the worst game I've ever been to. I'm not sure that was the worst game. I don't even think that was a worse game than last year when we went to Denver. I think Denver game was worse last year. And I see the score. I do see it. That was a worse game, in my opinion. And none of these comments are to excuse the faulty throws of Michael Penix, the bad connection wherever it was, whether it was the helmet, whether it was the actual plays or whatever it was, the disconnect between Zach Robinson and Michael Penix Jr. Something was amiss. And yes, Michael Penix Jr. is human. And he had a bad game. He had an awful game. He could not connect with passes. So I'm not sitting here trying to excuse any of that. Not at all. But at the same time, y'all, come on. Take off the asylum straitjackets. Back up from off the bridge. Stop acting like y'all all in HR and ready to fire everybody on the first mistakes they made. And I say first mistakes. The first horrible game that they've played in a while. The Tampa game wasn't horrible. We made some bad mistakes. That wasn't horrible. Younghoe Koo. Bring back Younghoe Koo. I hear the same folks who were talking about Younghoe Koo. I literally hear the same folks, whether it's in our content creator community or on the radio, talking about bring back Koo. You literally just cut him on Tuesday. Nobody said Parker Romo was going to beat Justin Tucker. But we are so reactive. And I gotta, maybe I'm just Mr. I just don't get this era of spaz out over the loss. I can get angry about the loss. I was ticked off about it. But I mean, it's game 3. It's not game 13. The season is, and you know what? If the season over, let me know. Let me know if y'all are done. And I mean this. If y'all are done, let me know. Because then I'll know If I see your name and I see your thing, I know not to just to skip over you if you're done. And this is not saying you can't say the Falcons didn't play well. No, we didn't play well. That was horrible. That was horrific. That was not what we were expecting. But to just go off the deep end and dive in as if, goodness gracious, the whole season is over. Tampa Bay had the same start last year, and they came from 3.5 games back and took the division from us last year. So why can't we? It was not a banner game for the offense, defense, or special teams. I am going to make a little bit of an asterisk by the defense. I don't know what people want the defense to do when the offense is giving the ball right back every other series. Got another stat for you. Tampa Bay Buccaneers under 300 yards. The Minnesota Vikings last week under 200 yards total offense. Want to know how many yards the Carolina Panthers had yesterday? 224 offensive yards. Now, nobody's getting a cookie for the defense for that. Yeah, there was a lot of pass interferences at the end. Yeah, we had a couple of gashes through the middle at the end. They were probably tired because they've been on the field the whole game. But all of this, just unnecessary. Like, y'all act like that was the worst ever football game lost in the history of mankind. And you don't even have to be a lone Falcon fan for that. Again, I can name 3 games last year that were worse than that. I know the 30-0 is never good. But if y'all jumping ship for that, just let me know. Let me know. God bless you. Move out, and we'll keep the train moving. Now, do we need to make some changes? Absolutely. Listening to the press conference Raheem gave a few minutes ago, sounds like Zach is going to be down on the sidelines. I don't know if that's making a difference. Maybe in the fact that they claim to having these problems with the helmet, maybe that could help, that he'll be right there on the sideline. So if things like that happen, he can correct things. It won't be the first OC that's on the sideline. So that's fine. Let's see if that works. Special teams got to figure something out. He did say they are still in a competition mode. Parker Romo missed the 2 field goals. I'm pretty sure there's some other guys out there. So we're going to try it again, see what happens. I just know one thing, boy, whoever comes in that Benz next week is going to be, woo, they're going to be under scrutiny. But again, y'all, we're 1-2. We're 1-2 after the 3rd game of the year. Folks, the season is not over yet. It's not. Do we need to about face and get us some, boots up behind to kind of get us motivated? Absolutely. Let's see what happens. Our buddy Marcus Mariota looked like Joe Montana yesterday, putting up 40 points against the Raiders. But as we see in the NFL, what you do the week before doesn't necessarily mean anything the next week. We had Green Bay Packers as Super Bowl qualified, ready to go, and they go to Cleveland and to an 0-2 team and lose. Dallas put up 40-something points last week, and it was like, oh, man, it's going to be a track meet. They're going to kill Chicago. Chicago gave up 50 points last week. Boy, and Dallas is just itching to go up there and score points. Yeah, I know CD Lamb is out, but they still got some other players too. And they lay an egg against Chicago. I'm not going to tell anybody how to fan. Fan how you want to fan. I'm not going to get into the little, idiosyncrasies of what we're supposed to do on this play and that play. Y'all got shows for all these wannabe, never played in the pros type folks for that. You do. I've told y'all before, I'm a fan. But y'all got it's you go to 10 different broadcasts with 10 different former coaches, former semi-pro players, semi-wannabe players, folks that got to get a ladder to reach up to their coffee cup in the cabinet, folks that's bipolar, out here talking about what they would do. You do the same thing I'm doing, sitting on the sideline, scratching your head. It's not that bad, y'all. Come on back. Step away from the edge. Stay away from the weed actually the weed to help out there, calm some folks down. But stay away from the weed for legal reasons. It's not that bad. It's really not. And then you got some folks even on the borderline of even going just going a little too far with your rhetoric where I'm gonna have to call you out seriously. Some of you. You're getting close to a line that doesn't have anything to do with sports, and you know what I mean. Because of a football game. And when that happens, it just bothers me. Because as a fan, I'm not saying you have to be satisfied with a subpar product. I'm not saying that. But goodness gracious, man. Push away from the table. Take a deep breath. Relax. Read a book. Read the paper. I would say read the paper, but these days, read the paper is probably gone. Get a hobby. It's going to be all right. I will admit in some ways, after a game like that, you want to go to sleep and wake up on Saturday. Because you hear all of the stuff about what should have happened, could have happened, all of that. But y'all, we going to be all right. And guess what? If we don't make the playoffs this year, the ones who want to leave, they'll leave. And we'll come back to the same folks that we had last year. But I'm not doing that in week 4. We played 3 games. Zach Robinson. Okay, well, what's the answer? I keep hearing what the problem is. What's the solution? If Zach Robinson is the problem, what are you going to do? Fire him, bring somebody else in who's going to have a different philosophy, and then you're going to have to reteach that again during the mid-season, and then what? Fire Raheem, then what you going to do? You have to get somebody used to a whole other philosophy, whether it's Ulbrich or I doubt if it's Zach Robinson or Jerry Gray or whoever it is. And then it'll be a whole different philosophy again. Then y'all are blaming on that. And I want to make it perfectly clear. I'm not telling you how to fan. I am trying to save you from self-destruction mentally. You can be totally upset like I was about that game yesterday. I was as upset as the next person. But at the end of the day, take that deep breath. Thank goodness it's game 3 and not game 13. And do what you need to do. I was asking Lo and my son, like 2 of my favorite people to bounce stuff off of. I asked them, what's worse? Losing 30 to zip or losing like we lost to Tampa Bay, 23-20, where you know it's probably 1 play away. What's worse? They all count for 1 game. But what's worse? I tend to believe it's the Tampa Bay game. I think it would kill me more knowing that you were one play away from, in that case, tying the game, as opposed to saying, you know what, Carolina beat us up, down, round the world. I'll take that. But for us to pretend like that one game ends the whole franchise history, y'all got folks blaming off the blank. It's all the blank's fault. He made the hire. Get Terry Fontenot out of here. And then the old adage of Rich McKay. Poor Rich McKay. Rich McKay don't do nothing. Rich McKay be in his house sleep, and they blame Rich McKay. Like, what did I do? Let me jump into it. Let me jump into the comments. I see I got a super chat here. Let me go down here and get that out of the way. I know a lot of people got a lot of stuff to say, but we're gonna start off with super chat. My brother John Harris is in the house. He's part of the eye test. Y'all make sure y'all check him and Winston Thornton out on Wednesday nights. They'll be talking about it, and boy, I'm sure they're gonna talk about it. He says, Big Low said you talked him off the ledge all 300 miles of Charlotte yesterday. But that looked mangled roadkill ugly on TV. We beat ourselves. Yeah, I'm kind of that same way. I'm that same way, man. I just look. I take a look at what we did. I look at it, but it's hard for me to just sit there and kind of. I can't. I could be mad about the game, but I gotta look on. It's game 3. Again, y'all, if it's game 13 and we talking about getting eliminated from the playoffs, that's one thing. We have had schizophrenic teams this year in the NFL. And I think Atlanta is just, as a lot of teams are getting to figure out what they have, you're going to have that in the first 4 weeks. You're going to have that. John, appreciate you, brother. Thank you for the support as always, man. Y'all make sure y'all check John and Winston out on the eye test. Let me give you a little something. Chilling in Uncle Steve's lounge. Yeah. Oh, Uncle Steve's lounge. What a way to start today with the super chat here. John Harris kicking us off. Let me get in here. John Brooks, what's going on, brother? He said, I'm first. I smashed that like button. Thank you, sir. Make sure y'all smash the like button for me while y'all in here. He said, Uncle, I'm not going to lie. We got dominated on Sunday, but I still ride for my Falcons, even though I question myself. Why do I put myself through this team? Because you're a fan, brother, like most of us are. John Higgins is here. What's up, John? Say, hey, Uncle Steve, what's happening, man? Man, put this 1 week down. Next week is NFL in this NFL league. How do you not have a group of men not ready to perform on stage? Go Falcons, rise up. Now, that's the question. What happened? He said in the press conference it was a great practice and stuff like that. So he's absolutely right. What? I don't know what happened. Something in between didn't get to their ears, man. Willie Dock is in the house. What's up, Willie Dock? Yeah, I was trying to think of which team did we have. There were 3 different, and I don't think that's just the Falcons, y'all. A 30-0 lead will make you think that's it. But if you look around the NFL, again, I go back to Green Bay. Green Bay looked like they were ready to storm the NFL the first 2 weeks, and then all of a sudden yesterday they lose to Cleveland. Yeah, I know Cleveland got a good defense, but they still got the same quarterback problems that they had the first 2 weeks. So what's the deal now? You know? So I think until you get to probably about week 5, week 6, that's when teams start getting in the groove and you start seeing what's going on with these teams. Willie, I said, turn it up speakers for the intro. Yes, sir. Thank you, brother. William may be in the house, but I know William's going to be in here. William says, this is embarrassing. City Cats happy, but we deserve it. Yeah, man. Hey, listen. Again, it happens. It is what it is. Lisa Shepard's in the house. Hey, Lisa, how you doing? Say last shutout, 2021 in the Benz versus the Patriots. Yeah, that was the little 2-touchdown game, right? 13-0. Mac Jones, if I'm not mistaken, doing a thing. Lee said, "Oh, Steve, I see you're a road warrior this season. Way to rep. Yeah, I'm trying to do some things this year. Trying to get out there. So it is what it is. We're gonna try to see if we can possibly make one or two more, but we're gonna settle in and see what's going on. David Starks is in the house. How embarrassing! I'm so furious right now. I can't even think straight. That was embarrassing. That was an embarrassing loss. If you're a fan of this franchise, Dre in the coach's corner. What's going on, brother? They see everyone was happy with last week because we won, but as I always say, you don't accept the win what you would in a loss. We couldn't move the ball and then have an all year. And again, Dre is always going to come from the coach's perspective. What you got to realize, Dre, we are fans. Look up the definition. We move in different ways. People expect after last week for the Falcons to go 14 straight, win like we did. My man to kick 5 field goals a week. That's what fans do. I have no issue with that. To go in the philosophy of 1 week at a time, as sometimes I talk about as well, I can't expect fans to do that. I expected the reaction from yesterday at 4 o'clock to today. I expected exactly the way I've been seeing people react. And that's what we've been doing as fans. RJ, what's going on, brother? How you doing, man? Hope everything's going all right. ATL Skate Man in the house. What's going on, brother? He said, "Hey, Steve, is this win and loss thing becoming a normal thing?" I hope it's not, but I do say again, because it's so early in the season, I think we got to feel things out, man. I think we got to feel things out. I am not jumping off the ledge. I'm not doing it. I'm not. Deanna's in the house. How you doing? Hey, Uncle Steve, please talk Call of Duty John Fricky. 92.9 off the ledge. Yeah, listen. When it comes to that radio stuff sometimes, and I listen to 92.9. I have favorites and I have people that I just say are there for the entertainment value. I have much respect for Mike Bell, and I know today Mike's not there and it's John Fricky. I have much respect for John Fricky. And Carl Dukes, I'm kind of like on him because I think Carl Dukes is not from here. I think Mike Bell is originally not from here. They can say what they want to say. I live here 20 years. It's not the same. And sometimes when you hear some of their fake outcry or their fake demands of whatever, which always makes me laugh to see those dudes get put in their place like Raheem did last year when they were doing their little content as far as that's concerned. But I also say that's entertainment. I think it's for whether it's on radio, whether you're doing what I'm doing on YouTube, negativity sells. Negativity and outrage sells. It also happens in politics. Negativity and outrage gets eyeballs. Those are the videos, those are the audios that we say, "Oh, did you hear that? Oh, did you see that?" Because somebody's acting fake outrage. I think that's what they all are and stuff. I can't take them seriously. I really can't. Carlo in the house. What's going on, brother? He said, "I know I'm finally growing up because I didn't turn into the Tasmanian devil yesterday." But you know what it is, Carlo? I know, brother, and again, you're gonna see some of the seasoned Falcon fans, and that's just not a knock on anybody under 30 and stuff like that. It's really not. But some of us who've been sitting in this thing since the 70s and are used to a little bit of, a lot of it, of adversarial things happening during the games, during the season. This is not panic time for us. It's oh man, they lost again. And then we go to the game the next time. If you don't want to go to the game the next game or something like that, you got some extra tickets, let me know. I'll take care of it. RJ said, "I'm so embarrassed about the loss yesterday. I'm praying we can turn it around. I still believe in the Falcons." I do too, man. And bad games happen. Bad games happen to everybody. Everybody's favorite Kansas City Chiefs have not gotten off to the greatest start. And let's not act like that was like a dominant win over the Giants yesterday. They had to kind of play with them a little bit to the end. T. Walker is here. What's up, T. Walker? It says it's hard to watch wasted potential in a head coach who is too stubborn to change. Raheem's gonna have to. He's gonna have to bend. I'll say this, T. I think he is probably making more. He's probably gonna have to be more proactive this year. Some of the wait around 3 weeks to see if it comes around. I don't think he's gonna be able to do that. The problem is, it's gonna be hard to with your OC position because you've gone all summer long with this guy's plan, and now if things don't go right by week 5 and you're still getting 1 touchdown in 2 weeks like we've done, I to make a move will probably stunt the growth of this offense even more. And you're going to waste a good defense. Folks, I'm trying to tell you this defense is different. Lisa said, yeah, I could tell from the aerial shots the stadium wasn't full. No, it wasn't. It wasn't. They were there, but it wasn't slap full. David said reports they were having problems with the headset, so I'm going to give Robinson somewhat of a break, but we're still slow in getting the plays overall. That's probably why he's going down on the sideline. He got to do that. He's got to. Willie Doc, I missed your super chat, man. What's going on, brother? Again, I apologize for that, and thank you so much for supporting. He said, I know, preseason, right? But you could have at least practice play calling from the sideline with Pennick and a true kicking competition. Willie Doc, this for you, brother. Appreciate you, man.
Whoever my Falcons. Hey, that's my team. You wanna hear news, wanna hear songs, then chill with Uncle Steve. Forever my Falcons. Hey, that's my.
And I apologize again, man. I got caught up here and caught behind. Hey, who's in the house? Miss B is in the house. I ain't seen you in a while. How's it going? I hope everything's going well with you. Glad to see you. I wish we would have seen you at the Minnesota game to talk about that, man. It's that kind of season right now. Hey, appreciate y'all joining myself and being people like Miss B that come along and she's doing her thing too. She has her own podcast. Y'all make sure y'all support her. In the meantime, y'all make sure y'all hit that like button for me in here. I'm going to try to hit all these comments again as I hit to my brother. Another one that y'all need to check out, the Atlanta Bird game. He came on briefly yesterday. We were checking out some of your stuff on the road back yesterday. He said, what's up, brother? We are venturing towards must-win territory on Sunday versus the Commanders. I don't think it's – I don't even think that's you got to say that. It is must win. You can't go into the bye with 2 clunkers, and now you're going to have a clunker if you lose this game. I think it's a very much must win. I think the Falcons are going to turn it around. The great thing about scoring 0 points in one game is that's pretty much the worst you could do. You can't do much worse than that. I think we're going to bounce back. Melinda's in the house. Hey, Melinda. I know we're going to see her in the house next week. She says, this is not what I expected. What the heck is going on? I do not know. She said the kicker messed up. I get that, but the 30 to zip, it is, I have no idea, sis. I wish I knew. Hopefully I could, hopefully we can get to the bottom of it and get you some answers. But right now, we got to do what we got to do. Lisa says definitely these 2 divisional losses have heading to the bye. 1 and 3 is not what we want. Not at all. Nope. Georgia, Texas boys in the house. What's going on? Again here in Uncle Steve's Lounge. As B says, I know folks gonna be going to the stream. They want Cousins back. Like what the hell these fans? I ain't loyal. Listen, and that was the thing that he explained that made the most sense. And I told Lowe when we were sitting there, and I said, there go Cousins. We had this obnoxious Carolina Panther guy behind us. I say obnoxious, but if I was on the road, I probably would be the same thing. But he was a home fan, and he was calling over there to the sidelines and messing with Drake and messing with the kicker, and to the point where the guys on the sideline start kind of looking over there, because he was getting kind of boisterous. He's a little drunk, but more power to him. He was a good fan to us, but I don't know. He's just kind of obnoxious. Anyway, as Cousins was going into the game, and I looked on my ESPN app near the end, and they were like, "Oh man, the Falcons bench Michael Penix for Kirk Cousins," and I'm saying to myself, it just went to 27-zip. It's 8 minutes left. There's nothing showing that the Falcons are going to move any quicker. We're 4 possessions down with 8 minutes left, and you're going to get that boy hurt. So he took out Mike. The first drive, they actually they kept I think Algier and Bijan in there for the first drive. Then the second drive, they let, of course, Nathan Carter, who got him some garbage time in there, good for him. But folks, Kirk Cousins is gonna be right where he is, and anybody who's rooting for Kirk Cousins to go on the field, I just gotta say you're rooting for the wrong thing. George Texas boy said they ain't loyal. Oh, they not. They not. Belinda says, I'm giving grace, but we got to do better. That's pretty much the mantra. That line right there. I'm giving grace, but we got to do. I'll even add a word to you, sis. We got to do much better than that. Cam, what's going on, Cam? How you doing? Cam said the worst game I've ever seen the Falcons play against the Chiefs, like in 03, 04, 56-zip. Yeah, see, that's what I'm talking about. And I think, was that Derek Thomas, Cam? Was that the game that Derek Thomas terrorized us? Or one of them games against Kansas City, he absolutely annihilated us. My worst game that I remember seeing ever was when we played the Rams, and that was back in, I want to say 70. Was it 77? No, it couldn't have been 77. That was the year we didn't give up points. Might have been 76. I think the Rams beat us 59-zip. That was the worst beating I remember seeing the Falcons play. Georgia Texas boys say Zach coming to the sideline. Hope it gets better. Yeah, that's what Dre is talking about too. Yeah, they actually announced that during the press conference where they were saying that he's coming out of the booth. Absolutely. Other half of the eye test is in the house. Our brother Winston. What's going on, brother? And he's right. Please hit that like button for me. I appreciate it. Thank you so much. Deanna says Penix looked flustered and overwhelmed on yesterday. And that's the thing I want people to realize. I think it's good, not for losing the game's sake, but I like the fact that he had to get humbled a little bit. If y'all think about everything that happened yesterday, think about, not yesterday, last week. Coming off the Minnesota game, Michael Penix didn't put up extraordinarily big numbers last week against Minnesota, but he handled himself. He didn't throw the ball away. He was the anti-J.J. McCarthy last week. He looked poised. He was getting the ball out. And he was kind of the flavor of the week. Everybody would be, and I think even last week, think about it, the 4 rookies, and not saying the defense didn't play. They played better than the offense yesterday, but they still lost. It's still one loss. But you talk about all 4 rookies shined last week. And what happens in situations like that, folks? It's human. You know how it is. You start smelling yourself a little bit. Start feeling your oats. Start feeling like, oh, I've arrived. And that's okay. Because it happens. It happens to the best of us. Now that adversity is hit, it's 30-0. What do you do now? Tell me, what do you do now? That's the biggest test for the Falcons. My brother Jerry is in the house. How you doing, man? Good to see you in the house. That's old neighborhood right there. Old neighborhood. He said 2 many first round picks on to be this bad on offense. 3 touchdowns all season. That's crazy, right? 3 touchdowns. Overall, overwork all field goal kickers because our offense is terrible in the red zone, defense on the field all game. And that's something that, and I'm just getting this right quick. It looks like the Falcons are parting ways with Ike. I don't know who this is. The wide receiver coach. I don't know. Ike Hilliard. Oh, Ike Hilliard. I didn't even know Ike Hilliard was here. Ike Hilliard was pretty good with the Giants, right? He used to play with them. So somebody took the blame today. Ike Hilliard, you are gone. So you are taking the hit this week. TJ Yates will assume those duties. So, hey, man. So it might not have been Zach Robinson, but somebody had to pay the price today. So there we go. Dirty Bird said the Falcons had too much money to be having issues with headsets 2 weeks in a row. No excuses for headsets. This team and coaches were just not prepared. I tend to believe what you're saying, too, because you're supposed to prepare yourself. You're supposed to have a contingency plan for things like that. So when I hear that, that's an excuse. Ms. B says, right, the comments I've been seeing have been wild. Some of these folks are delusional and just panic. That's unfortunately what we do. That's unfortunately what we do. Winston says Penix is going to have bad games this season. It's more about having better games than bad ones. Minnesota gave the blueprint to beat our pistol as presently constructed. Carolina was able to execute it. That's actually a good point. That's good. Deanna said, I'm like you, Steve. I was embarrassed, but the overreactions be too much a lot of times. And that's what I'm saying. I don't mind. I'm not trying to tell you can't have a human emotion to say, dang, Falcons, y'all look bad. I'm not saying that. But y'all know the ones I'm talking about. I mean, I don't even have to say names, say words, say videos. Y'all know them. I mean, it's just like their whole world is done. Fire everybody that has a Falcon logo on. Demote folks playing the game. Just, fire the kicker again. It's just, I don't know. It's game 3. That's what I'm saying. It's game 3. Because if some of y'all went to work and they fired you and you guys didn't do your job in the first 3 weeks, you got fired, you'll be saying, oh no. It's a crazy mentality. Willie said, not done yet, just a little frustrated, a 180 from the last week. And I'll say from an offensive standpoint, was it really? The offense still was sputtering last week. And a lot of people are going to argue the fact that Minnesota kind of gave them that touchdown. A lot of people saying that. And it looks like they did. So they can get the ball back and try to score a touchdown themselves. Offense, there are issues. We can't sugarcoat that. Mike, was he off yesterday? Aside of the first drive. First drive, he did okay. After the first drive, it just seemed like he was a little, and it's not like they didn't protect him yesterday. He wasn't in a lot of trouble yesterday. He had a couple of times he had to get out of things, but he never got sacked. But I just think sometimes we tend to, just think it's just, we forget this is Michael's 6th start. I still think he has between the heads. I saw him on the sideline. He was frustrated yesterday. He was coming to the line. He was coming to the sideline frustrated, as you should when you're down 17-0. But I think I'm trying to get down here. Deanna says John Fricky said to bring Matt Ryan as OC and possibly the head coach. Yeah, God bless John Fricky. Matt Ryan is not coming to be a head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. Matt Ryan is making good money sitting behind a booth, sitting in a studio, getting to visit teams, stuff like that. Matt Ryan is good. He ain't trying to come back. Lisa says, I'm not going anywhere. However, it's the culmination of losing over the years. Our overall record is 390, 512, and 6. That's 122 games under 500. That's a lot of losing, and we're frustrated. Add to that, Lisa, that our last winning season was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. So that is gonna happen. And frustration should set in. I hope it does. I hope it does. It should. John coming in here again, man. Thank you so much, John. I appreciate you, brother. He said, "What favorite barbecue sauce are we using for these coordinators that we are about to cook? Get that big egg ready because more ribs are coming to the grill." John has seen the big grill over here, man. I appreciate you, brother. Thank you so much, man.
Steve Lounge. Uncle Steve's Lounge, you know we here. It's a
And I appreciate y'all joining me, man. And thank you for the support, John, as usual. Again, y'all make sure y'all check the eye test out on Wednesdays. Usually, I think 10 o'clock on Wednesdays. I'll make sure you're checking. That'd be past my bedtime, man. John will be up late in the night, but they got a lot of people to show up for that. So y'all make sure y'all join them at doing that. Ms. B said, I don't understand why people mad because Morris said he got out coached. He did get out coached. It was clearly obvious. I think sometimes, Ms. B, and people, for some reason, it's almost like Raheem Morris is in a position of what else you want me to tell y'all? Because this is what people would say, Ms. B, if he came out there and said, "Oh man, we just had one or two plays and it would have been a better game," then people would criticize him for that. I like the idea that he comes out and said, "We got out coached," and he did. What is he supposed to say? Give me the dialogue for somebody that gets beat 30-0, what they're supposed to say. Well, a play here, a play there, we would have won. No, you got beat. You got beat. Georgia, Texas boy says that we have to reset. I'm definitely looking at Cliff Kingsbury and Joe Brady as head coach options for offensive head coaches. Okay. I mean, if we do, I hear you. I'm just let's see how this 2025 pan out, y'all. We might not be as bad as this. It just might be a horrible thing. Say defensive coaches, Brian Flores or Rex Ryan. Rex Ryan is, yeah. Y'all talk about Raheem. Yeah, Rex Ryan. That was, how long ago was that team? That was before Matt, when he had those teams with the Jets. Rex Ryan has not done anything since then. He talked a good game on Get Up on ESPN, but it's been a minute since he's been there. And I think the mere fact that they haven't brought him in for any interviews during even did they bring? I don't even think they brought him in when Arthur Smith stuff was going on. I don't think they did. Or maybe they did. I don't remember. I know they didn't bring him in this second time. Sterling Woods, what's going on, said they need to fix their headsets before next game. Well, one, they need to fix their headsets, but guess what, Sterling? They don't have to worry about that now because they say Raheem said in the press conference that Zach is coming down to the field, so we're going to figure that out. We're going to figure that out. Lisa says, I think it's more about the why. Why was he out coached? What was it about our coaching staff yesterday that allowed themselves to be out coached by an 0-2 team? Again, I'm not making excuses for this, but I also have to think about sometimes the desperation. Last week, we were a desperate team. We lost to our division nemesis by a field goal. A lot of people were blaming Younghoe Koo solely for that game. We lost by an inch, so the pressure was on the Falcons for us to do whatever it took humanly possible to make sure we won that game last week. And I'm trying to tell y'all, Lisa, you could probably attest to this. If you remember in Minnesota, that sideline was not like they were at a home game. They were live. That sideline was kind of even feeding off some of the negativity and stuff in the building. I say negativity, but the adverse skull crowd. I think they were feeding off that. I think I didn't see that yesterday. I saw them, they might have been mentally thinking they were ready. But when you went down to that field, and I'm telling y'all, big momentum is undefeated. When you go down to that first drive and you don't connect on that field goal, I think there was a little deflation. They got deflated. Carolina came right down there, 7-zip, and never looked back. Big Mo is undefeated. Stellan says, does Zach really know his team is the question? That's a good question. I mean, it's a good question, and it's a fair question for these 3 games. Because as somebody just pointed out, we only scored 3 touchdowns this year. You could almost argue 2 because Minnesota kind of let Tyler Algier get that last touchdown. It's a fair question. Let's hope he finds the answer out. It's early. Let's hope he did. Georgia Texas boy say, I don't think this team didn't take Carolina serious and tried to overlook Carolina, and it backfired. That could be possible too. They're human. Again, when they won this game, think about it, y'all. Everybody was talking about Justin Jefferson. J.J. McCarthy looked so great in that fourth quarter against Chicago. This offense was going to light up the Atlanta Falcons and blah, blah. And the Vikings looked like the Falcons looked yesterday. They didn't score a touchdown against the Falcons. And they looked like they were playing uninspired ball. And the Falcons took care of that. That's why I'm just, the bridge jumping that everybody wants to do after this game, that's why it kind of concerns me, because I'm saying, y'all, there isn't any team right now in the NFL that has a clear, concise identity. Philadelphia had no business coming back in that game yesterday after watching those highlights. No business. The Rams should have ran them out of that game. Buffalo, yeah, they're 3-0. They look good. But they shouldn't have probably come back on Baltimore. So I guess I'm saying nobody is in full 100%. We got it going on right now. And so this doesn't make it acceptable to have these mistakes. It doesn't make it acceptable for them to look lost and to not score any points. But all I'm saying is there is such a long amount of season left. We were 1-2 last year. And then all of a sudden we hit a nice little spot. Took a little adversity to get that kicked off. Everybody was talking about Kirk wasn't doing this, Kirk wasn't doing that, and he wasn't. Let's see if the urgency, especially knowing that you got that early bye, let's see if this urgency kind of creeps up and helps us out. Carl says it's been going on since 66. Something got to change. Well, I mean, Carl, trust me, Nostradamus, if you got the answer, brother, I mean, let somebody know. I hear what you're saying, but what's got to change? I literally think they've tried everything. We're not the only franchise that hadn't won the Super Bowl. I'm not naive to think it's easy. All I'm saying is I'm just not. I guess I'm just not an absolute total give up person in that sense. Do things need to get better? Absolutely. Do things need to get improved? Absolutely. If things don't work after this year, do you move on and possibly do stuff at the end of the year? Yes. But for right now, in the middle, and not even in the middle, at the beginning, you haven't even played 1/6 of the season yet. You barely have, if you're doing fractions correctly. You've barely played 1/6 of the season, and you got folks ready to fire the coach, fire the OC, bench the quarterback, get rid of Rich McKay for the 6th time. I don't know. Lisa said, I think that's part of the frustration, Steve. It's kind of like we're floundering in mediocrity with no real solution to get out of it, switching coordinators and coaches every few years isn't good. It isn't. It isn't. I mean, and you're right. No, think about this, Lisa. These were the conversations we weren't having from '08 to basically 17, and I know 13 and 14 weren't that great. But these weren't the conversations we were having. Matt Ryan went through a few OCs, but Matt Ryan was at least decent enough to be good to get us through those years. And we're going to look back, especially if the Falcons don't do anything more. We're going to look back at that as our golden era. Laugh at me if you want to, but we are. Because at that time, we were mad we weren't winning playoff games. We were winning games. 08 to 12, we were one of the winningest teams in NFL. Tack on the couple of 16 to 17. In the 2010s, I bet you we in the top 10. We were doing well. Now we've hit a rut. Sometimes you got to fight through. You do. B said, I ain't gonna lie. I'm sorry, I ain't gonna hold you, but Zach Robinson is a problem. I mean, he's been here over a year, and the offense really ain't been it. I don't know the solution at this point. We are in the season. Yeah, I hear you. I hear you. Skip down here a little bit. Great 1912. What's going on? He said losing 0-30 is one of the worst teams in football. Come on. Yeah, but here's the problem. It's the same guy that scored 40 points on you last time. Great one. Let's not act like he ain't done this before. Somebody else just pointed out. Bryce Young. Bryce Young has 7 regular season wins. 3 of them are against the Falcons. I mean, I'm sorry. Sometimes those are games like that. I'm sorry. I tend to, in games like 30-0, there's nothing you can do in that game. There's nothing. You just got beat. The 23-20s, oh, those stay with me. Because you say, what if? You say, that could have. You say, he should have. That's the ones that bother me. But I hear you. I hear you loud and clear. He says, I'm also mad at Raheem for not sending Parker back out there after 2 misses. He destroyed Parker's confidence, not kicking field goals for the rest of the game. Yeah. At that point, though, I think the mentality was you definitely got to do better than field goals at that point. Stellan says getting beat by the Panthers has got some coaches fired. Yeah, I hear you. Brandon Levy said, Lord have mercy. Oh, man. As B said, yeah, I don't get the whole Arthur Blank should sell the thing. Yeah, those are people. And they shouldn't have sold that church. They shouldn't have tore down that church. People are crazy, man. Monte Carlo said we just want to be just a little bit and we not have to stop people for running their mouth. Yeah, that too. That too. Carl says Terry Fontenot has put a championship team together talent-wise, but the coaching is atrocious. You can't go far in the NFL with bad coaching. I do agree that coaching definitely is a hindrance, and you do need to take care of that. There is no disagreement with that at all. Not at all. Brandon said, never seen Penix look that bad. Yeah. And again, it happens. We were talking about, me and Lo were talking about it coming up. Matt Ryan had 5 interception game his first 2 or 3 years. Nobody escapes it. Pat Mahomes has not looked like regular Pat Mahomes a couple of games. It happens. Jalen Hurts on the way to the Super Bowl last year. He was not lights out all year last year. It happens. Josh Allen, when he first got into the league the first 2 years, he wasn't lighting things up. That first year actually was pretty atrocious. But he worked his way through it. And I still have the belief in the young man because I think his talent is, if you can't see his talent, I'm sorry. I don't know. But you got to give him a little bit of time. This is not Desmond Ritter, y'all. This is a different animal. He said we have a tough stretch coming up. We need to fix this offense. Look, one game at a time, man. We better worry about Washington. I almost got a feeling they're going to probably trot Mariota out there and make sure that Jaden's healthy. He said, right, our identity is that our offense has red zone efficiency issues. The defense has played well enough to keep us in games. And people, that sounds weird when you get beat 30-0, but if y'all saw the game and you really saw the game for what it's worth, you'll know what we're talking about. Carl says, that Penix never looked this bad, college or pro, so what does that tell you? Yeah, that could tell you something about the coaching. Brandon says we got to beat Washington Sunday in the Benz. We do. Deanna says Carl be shot jocking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, Carl is and again, he plays that role well. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to play that role. That excites people. When you the Falcons are gone. Y'all should everybody come up here and vent. Everybody rant. Everybody get angry. That's an incite thing. It doesn't only happen in sports. It happens in the world too. That you start stirring people up to get them upset. People are already upset about the game. We don't need you to stir us up too. Tim said they fans too. They're fans because they work here. I don't think they're fans. I think they're fans because Atlanta is paying them a check. That's why they're fans. And I'm sorry. That doesn't fly for me. Carlos said, Steakhouse made me mad today talking about Penix and putting Kurt in. Don't spin that narrative. And again, another one. Give Steak Shapiro a lot of credit. They've been in this game for a long time. Get it. Great at what they do. Steak Shapiro is not an Atlanta fan. Steak Shapiro is getting paid by people here in Atlanta. They do things like that to incite. Now, this is not saying that local people here can't get upset about the Falcons and can't have an adverse reaction to a bad loss. I'm not saying that. Hey, I'm not happy about the loss. All I'm saying is sometimes when you start talking about people who are paid to do to play radio, that's what they're going to do. I just don't believe that. I don't believe it. I don't. Good dudes, but they're not believable to me as fans. Francis, how you doing? Good to see you. Say, hey, Uncle Steve, what a difference a week makes. We let them embarrass us last year at their home, but we will rise up and hopefully stay on that high. Can't keep playing with our affections. You're right. You're absolutely right about that. I think we're going to be okay. I think we're going to be all right. Lisa said Torrey McElhaney just tweeted that the Falcons have parted ways. Yeah, with IQ. I guess I'm just catching up with this stuff right here. This guy Ryan with the Birdcage. Y'all make sure y'all check Ryan out on Thursdays. Him and his guys do their thing on the Birdcage LCC. He said it's a long season, 14 games left. No need to jump off the wagon. There's still a lot of talent to make noise. Folks forget the 85 Bears were embarrassed by very good call. And that Dolphins team. And they beat the mess out of them, too. Because I think the Bears were they 12-0, 11-0, or something going into that game. And my memory serves me correct. I think it was 38-24. 30-something, but the Dolphins beat them up. So, yeah, that's something that you got to think about. It can happen. And especially game 3. If you're going to have these type of clunkers, have these clunkers in games 1 through 5 so you can get it out your system. That's when you have, though. What was bothering me last year was after week 10 and we were getting destroyed by Denver, beat up by Minnesota, run shot by Carolina at the end. That's what bothered me. Ski says, wow, all the panic. Yeah, I don't get it. I don't get it. Brandon says he'll be there Sunday. There you go. Carl says I'll be there Sunday too, Brandon. Yes, sir. I'll be there as well. Y'all make sure we get there and let the Falcons know we here. We just gonna need y'all to show up for us. Sterling says I don't understand is that the practice squad Romo is better than the signed Romo. But listen, when you're competing for a job, there is a level of desperation. That's actually a very good point, Sterling. To say because he was fighting for it, maybe that made him a little better. But yeah, I just think anybody that put that Falcon helmet on that's kicking the ball just is kind of jinxed right now, I guess. Anthony White's in the house. What's up, man? It's going to be a long week for the team. A lot of folks got to look at themselves in the mirror. This can't happen again. Not talking about losing. I'm talking about the effort, and that's a very good point too. Effort, and I'll say again, I like the defensive effort still from this team, but at a certain point past the third quarter, when your offense is just giving the ball back, albeit on a turnover, albeit on, turnover on downs, at some point, your defense is going to break down. I was just talking about it again. The Falcons have given up. The first game to Tampa, I think it was 268. Last week at Minnesota was 198. And yesterday was 224. So it's not like Carolina's going up and down the field. We just got to get the and the way our defense is playing, Anthony, the way they're playing, I really think if we score 21 points in a game, I'm not sure a lot of teams are going to beat us. I'm not sure. Folks, yeah, 30 zip. That's what it was. That's what ended up happening. Look at what happened in that game. Look at what happened. 10 zip halftime. Defense does their job, gives the ball back to the offense. Michael Penix pick 6 early. They pick 6 early in the third quarter. Think about the momentum, man. Think about what the defense is thinking. The defense is like, we gave the ball back to y'all. We down 10 zip. That nullified them getting the ball first in the third quarter thing. You gave it back to your offense, and the very first drive, he throws a pick 6, and they go up 3 scores instead of 2. You know how, and I know professionally you're supposed to go out there and fight it, man, but I'm sure the defense is human. They like, good grief. Come on, y'all. We setting y'all up. We teeing this up for you. That's crazy. Robin's in the house. Appreciate you. Thanks for joining us here at Uncle Steve's Lounge. And I appreciate everybody joining us today. Y'all make sure, whether you're on Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, please hit the like button for your unc. I appreciate it. Y'all do that for me, man. I'm trying to get this thing out of the algorithm. We have only 1,600 subscribers in here. I'm trying my best to get close to 2,000. So I appreciate everyone's help trying to get us in that direction. Winston says Kirk will not see the field unless in cleanup duty. Same reason why he saw the field yesterday. Kirk is a backup. There's no competition or chance for him to start again for us. And I'm going to steal the words that I hear Winston say all the time, point blank, period. Because if you didn't realize what was going on, you have to save Michael Penix from himself. It was nothing the Falcons. You were 27-0. It's 8 minutes left in the game, folks. What did y'all think was going to happen? Did y'all think we were going to come back in that game? No, you sit Michael down, you let him stew, you sit your starters down, you get them to thinking about next week. And trust me, they're professionals on that team. And they're going to come out with a different effort. Hopefully they win, but they're going to come out with a different effort. My buddy Vinny's in the house, man. What's up? Of you, for those of you who didn't see yesterday, R-Truth was in the house from the WWE and came in and kind of pumped up the Carolina Panthers with their little stuff. So that was kind of cool to see. And I saw you got a picture of this, so that was real cool. Vinny said, saw a disturbing stat earlier. Penix is 0-4 against teams that score more than 8 points against. Wow. We have work to do. Woo! That's a stat I don't want to see, Vinny. But I appreciate you bringing it up. Goodness gracious. He said, what's up, RELAX, everybody. Gonna get that swag going. And that's listen, from a fan standpoint, I hope that's what everybody thinks. It can't be as bad as it looked yesterday. We can't go any worse. So let's just hope when they get home, when they get to the bins, we got some energy in there. And remember, it's been a couple of weeks since they've been home, so we'll see. Antonio's in the house. What's going on? Say, what's up? We lost 30-0, but the defense gave up only 224 yards. The offense needs a lot of work. That early bye might benefit us. Absolutely, it might. And give a chance for people to kind of get their stuff ready. Jawan, and I know, Jawan, I'm just catching up down here. Yeah, we did get rid of the wide receiver coach just a minute ago. Billy Mills in the house. Billy Mills, what's going on? He said, what's up? He said, Penix just got to scan the field better, use those legs a little more, take a deep breath, and let's go. He's out there and lead this team, bro. I still believe in him. He'll bounce back. I believe in him too, y'all. I think the best is yet to come for this young man. And I still say I see more talent in him than I've seen in the last few quarterbacks we have. Yes, that includes Ice as far as talent. Ice had the grit. Ice had the go get it. But I don't think Matt is even more naturally talented than Penix. I just think Penix got to play a few games and get it together. Carl says, I'm not turning on Penix a lot if Falcon fans don't know how talented the young man actually is. That's my point. I didn't even see your thing on there, but yeah, that's what I'm saying. Willie Dot says, good point. Thank you, brother. I appreciate you. Ryan says, we will be fine. Offense has got to go back to his bread and butter and run the rock, and we've got to shorten routes and get him into a rhythm with our wide receivers. We'll be good by week 8. Ryan, and that was kind of funny that you were mentioning that about the running game, and a lot of people were kind of wondering why we didn't go back to the successful running game that we had against Minnesota. Well, I think they did try to run the ball quite a bit, and if y'all remember, it's not like we didn't have success running the ball against the Panthers too. I think they were just trying to get Penix a little more, juiced up with that pass game. You gotta be able to stretch the field. You have to be able to go take. He had a couple of shots he could have took yesterday that he just kind of didn't. And I don't know whether I didn't see where it looks like the defense was giving him that many issues. I didn't see them collapse on him that much. But yeah, it's just gonna take some work. But in the meantime, as Ryan say, man, run the rock, do what you do best. Sometimes you got to do stuff like that. Go down here. A couple of y'all still talking about the changes on there. Kenzel, what's going on, brother? He said you talking about Matt Ryan being a head coach might need to go get Dabo Sweeney from Clemson. Yeah, hey, he just might have a job. Boy, poor Dabo was in the doghouse, man. Big time. Dwayne, what's going on, brother? He said, simple and plain, it's obvious we did not prepare for this game. We was outcoached and outplayed. It's typical play of the Falcons. We ball out one week, drop the ball the next. These 3 weeks, our play has regressed. I don't want to say it's regressed. I think you played a little better last week. I think you played a little bit better last week against Minnesota. I think the up-down thing is kind of something. Brianne in the house. What's going on, sis? How you what do you think? What do you like of the recent wide receiver and coach firing? I call BS. It is probably a little bit of BS. You got to have somebody that's got to be the fall guy at this point, Brianne. That somebody's got to be the fall guy, and I think unfortunately it's him. Next will be T.J. Yates, before it gets to Zach Robinson. I think that's what's going to go on as far as that's concerned. It is. Keith Simmons in the house. What's up, Keith? I hear you with the scapegoat because Blank said some heads need to roll. But yeah, I mean, I don't know if Blank said that, but after a loss like that, somebody's got to take some blame. Wide receivers, I don't think they were horrific, but it's funny. Big Low was talking about it on the way home. He said it didn't seem like the wide receivers were getting a lot of separation yesterday. Even noticed young Seals got in the game a little bit. So I don't know. Maybe we got to see what's going on with that. Ski says, going back, watching again, Penix mixed a few open routes. It wasn't as bad as it looked, and it can be corrected. There you go. Absolutely. Billy said we cut C.J. Henderson bum behind. Wait, hold on. Brianne says, Raheem said they only practiced for 2 days in preparation for Carolina in yesterday's press. Interesting. I did not know that. Jawan said we got 4 months of football left. Absolutely. Yep. Not over till it's over. Tidy says the Falcons averaged 26 points per game last year with Kirk at quarterback, not including the games he played hurt. That would rank 9th in the NFL last year. That's with Zach at OC. Now with a new quarterback, we struggled to score. My point is, it's easy to blame the OC for the Suns and the Stars not shining, but what about when throwing the football? Anytime you change signal callers, folks, anytime you change signal callers, it's not going to flip like that. We're not going to have situations like Patrick Mahomes coming in for, trying to remember my guy's name that quick, in Kansas City. Every time, it doesn't work like that all the time. We see teams like that, and that's why they are great. Tom Brady stepping in for Drew Bledsoe. Situations happen like that, but it doesn't happen like that all the time. Quite honestly, it takes time. You got to give them time to develop and give them time to get on the same page as the OC. I will say again, I still think Penix has the tools to do what he needs to do, but making the connection with the OC, as Tidy pointed out, y'all remember it was a little part of the schedule where we were, excuse me, where we were lighting people up. So let's see. Hopefully it doesn't take too long, but sometimes you got to give them a little time. Kenneth, what's going on, man? He said he's too tired to comment. Yeah, man, that was ugly, bro. That was ugly. Jack Doe in the house. You know, that's so funny, man. I don't even know. Did the Steelers even win yesterday? Just to show you how much I care about my Falcons that I didn't do. Okay, y'all beat the Patriots yesterday, so I give y'all a little bit of credit. He said Bryce Young did win the Heisman. He's not that bad. No, man. Nah, listen. Again, Bryce Young has won 7 games in the NFL since he arrived. 3 of those games are against the Falcons. That's not good. That's not. It's really not. And we have to, at some point, gotta think about that. He's not. I think we lost the game. Bryce Young did not have a great game yesterday. He didn't turn the ball over. He was solid. But it's nothing that I'm writing home about saying, oh, he's turned it around. I think they're going to get destroyed next week. I think they played. Who do they play? The Bills? They play somebody tough next week. Oh, no, they don't. They play the Panthers. Panthers are probably. I'm sorry, Patriots. Patriots will still probably beat them. Toddy also says, I love the potential I see from Penix, but if you're paying Kirk guaranteed money regardless, maybe have a quarterback competition at camp just to keep the young puppy sharp and hungry. No, here's the problem I think that you have with that right now. And I think anytime that you start entering into, just like with the field goal stuff, when you publicly say we're going to have competition and publicly say we're going to probably go with the hot hand week to, and I'm not saying you're suggesting week to week, whoever's the hot hand, but when you get into that during the season, that's a whole distraction, man. That's a huge distraction. It's probably why, in fairness, Raheem waited to the last minute. That's probably why. I'm not saying it was the right move, but I am saying I understand why he did. But I wouldn't call it a competition. And when they asked him that in the press conference, he had a one-word answer: no. To shut that down and let people know this is still Michael Penix Jr.'s team. And I think that was the right thing to do today. Got another super chat in the house, our buddy Rusty. I'm so sorry, man. He texted me because I met up with Rusty last year and for happier times last year at the Carolina game, and we both ended up there last year. Yesterday. So I know he was unhappy. He said, "Oh God, I'm not even surprised anymore. Going to start betting on the opponents that way. If we win, cool. If we lose, it's a financial victory at last." Rusty said, "They ain't loyal." Rusty, I appreciate you, brother. Thank you for always supporting us on here on Uncle Steve's Lounge, man. Appreciate you.
I look in your eyes and let you know you're with Uncle Steve. Let you know that love is really real, but it seems to me.
Appreciate y'all, man. Thank you again for supporting the channel. I see you down here, Todd. He said at training camp, not during the season. Well, I think had you done that this summer, I think you had already turned the page. And it was obvious when they made that decision last December that I think the Falcons were saying, we moving straight ahead, figure it out. And as you saw Kirk when he was on his little Netflix thing, I think Kirk thought when that Netflix thing came out, he was probably going to be on his other team. So I still think you don't go into competition mode. I think it's Mike's team and Kirk's going to back him up. I hear what you're saying, but I think that's in my opinion, that's how you go. Jawan says every great quarterback has horrible gains before Penix. Yep. A Camp, what's going on? Says Raheem has that Dan Quinn stench on him, not the good stuff. The bad stuff we see from DQ's last year coaching and all. I hope not, but that one Falcon fan got a lot on my chest. First off, Penix, anyone saying he's a bust doesn't know ball. He's basically a rookie playing a full season. This was his welcome to the NFL mode. He will be fine. He says, secondly, this upcoming game would be the Dan Quinn and potential Mario to return to ATL revenge game. We need to be on our A game. It's not over, but if we go into the bye 1-3, that is a problem. I believe that too. I'm right there with you. I think it is. Toddy says, Carl be playing radio, as we call it. Yeah, he be playing radio. That's exactly what he's doing. That's exactly what he's doing. I think a lot of the fake outrage is, yeah. Toddy says the check cleared. Romo got comfortably mentally. We've all been there at some point, and that was the point we were talking about earlier. They told him you made the team, and Koo is gone. as a matter of fact, just for craps and giggles, let's see how much money Mr. Parker is making right now, because I know they had to sign him to contract on the thing. I'll pull this. I'm gonna read this as I'm pulling this up. Dre H is in the house. Said I felt like I drove for 4 hours and watched the game for one. They didn't even give us a chance to get loud and root for them. We showed up yesterday. Yeah, I'm gonna tell you what, and you're absolutely right. The Falcons fans, I give them a huge. Falcon fans were in the house yesterday. I mean, it and for the Carolina season opener to have that many Falcons in there. Now, obviously, they got the last laugh, but the Atlanta Falcons cannot say that their fans didn't come and show up, and they absolutely showed up. So hopefully, they'll recognize that and see. Let's see. They don't have his salary down here. They have him down here on the 50-man, but they don't have his current contract. So I'll check that out. Jimmy Wayne in the house. What's up, Jimmy? He said Pennis needs to learn touch. He has the arm. He just got to reel it in some. Yep. Shamar Davis is in here. What's up, Shamar? Commanders fan here living in Atlanta. Y'all cooked or what? I don't think we cooked, my friend. Matter of fact, Shamar, I think in the case for your team, it might have been the worst thing that could happen. Think about it. Y'all beat up on a not good Raiders team with a regressing Geno Smith, and y'all gonna be smelling yourselves too. Because y'all probably thinking, man, we don't need Jaden. We could do it with our second string. And y'all come in here with that mess if you want to, because this is going to be a different defense that y'all playing against. It's not going to be the Raiders you playing against. This is a whole different team. Yep. Call said the wide receiver coach got fired. Yep. King Richie in the house. What's up? He said, what's good? We still in the pistol way too much. We don't switch it up in our formations at all, and defenses are recognizing it. Yeah, but we still running the ball good. And I'm going to tell you, man, a run game travels. And there's just something about me that still thinks that with Bijan and Tyler running the rock, and I know they didn't let Tyler run a lot yesterday, I just still feel good about what we have on that side. And yeah, horrible game. There's nothing about the game itself that makes me feel confident. But I do feel like I stick to the run game. Not saying you can't stretch the field. You got to pass it eventually. You got to in the NFL. You got to pass the ball. You can't have – you can have a balanced attack kind of close to what we had last week where just you're not turning the ball over. But you got to keep running. I do feel like we kind of gave up on the run game a little too early. King also says the defense has gelled faster than the offense. It is what it is. Even though the defense can fix something, it's the truth. No, I said that at the very beginning, King, before you came up in here. Defense actually played a good game. You can't look at the stats and say 224 yards and say the defense didn't do their job. Now, defense had a couple of miscues. That the one pass that Xavier Watts. Well, I don't know whether it was Xavier Watts or Jesse didn't fall back when they threw the long pass. That was a big for the defense. But other than that, man, the defense is still actually pretty good. And I know 30 to zip, you can't say the defense is good. Look at the game. If you go look at the game, you'll see what I'm talking about. 224 yards is not a lot. Jimmy says Penix has the arm. He just needs touch. I hear you. And then Zante says, new OC, same plays. I don't understand. I don't think it's the same play. You think the same plays as Arthur Smith? You think so? I don't know. And listen, I think they look a little different now. You might be getting the same results, Zante. I'll say that. You might be getting some of the same results. I'm not sure if they're exactly the same. A-Camp says, ultimately, we will be fine. It's just frustrating to know that we have the pieces to be good, great, but we keep holding ourselves back. That's the one thing that I will say about all of this, and that's why I was coming on, and as I usually do, win or lose with the Falcons. Folks, I'm not telling anybody to not be upset about what happened yesterday. That was embarrassing. If you're a fan, that was hard to look at. You got to hold people accountable. I think that they are accepting the accountability when you start talking about Michael Penix. He's come out and said it. Raheem, when they bring Zach out for his press conference on Wednesday or Thursday, I'm sure he's going to say it too. We still got to remember, this is still a lot of, you have the majority of the folks on the offense that are all the same except for the guy getting the ball, which is the quarterback. That's the guy you really need to be kind of connected. And he's going to have times that he's not. I didn't see Carolina doing anything extraordinary, but it must have been something that was frustrating him. And you saw it on the sidelines. But I do think overall, I think we'll be okay. I think you're not going to see that effort against the Commanders on Sunday. It's just a matter of whether they're going to end up closing in on it. Winston says building a team is like building a great relationship. There's going to be ups and downs, but pointing fingers from the outside with only half the info is a moot point. Need to know how to speak on it. I agree with that, and that's why I think it bothers me. Again, criticism doesn't bother me at all. These guys deserve every bit of criticism that they have. I guess I'm saying for the long haul, you can't start changing everything. Well, scratch that. You can't start giving up in week 3. Can you change stuff? Absolutely. I'm sure there better be in Zach Robinson's hand contingencies that say, okay, we tried this for 3 games. It's not going to work. The great thing about having this bye after this week is that you might have a chance to install something different coming off the bye. Send the guys home with the new playbook. Send the guys home with the new philosophy and come back in week 6, albeit against the Bills, but bring it back then and see what you got. It's not too late. Not in week 3. And that's the only thing I'm saying. That's the only reason I was a little upset today and looking at things last night. I'm saying to myself, man, is this the Falcons fandom or is this the Falcons, the anti-Falcons thing? Yeah, 30-0 is not the ideal situation for especially fans. I can only imagine how the players feel. I'm pretty sure they're not happy either. But all we wish is that you take that, you chew it up, spit it out, and then you go to the next phase. That's what the Falcons got to do. I think they're going to do it. We'll catch up with you guys next week and see what happens during the Falcons-Commanders game. I am Uncle Steve. You've been in Uncle Steve's Lounge. This is the Monday Minutia. If y'all don't mind, again, I appreciate all the comments. I'm sorry I was probably late with a lot of y'all getting down there. I'm sure everybody wanted to talk about what this team is doing. I appreciate you all joining my platform and trusting me to discuss it with you in a respectful and mannerable way. And I know that we're going to be ready for whatever comes in the rest of the season. I still have high expectations for this team. I still think this team can make it to the playoffs. I still think this team has everything in front of it. You just got to now go execute and come out with a better effort than you did before. Again, as you're leaving, please hit that like button for me on YouTube, whether you're on Facebook. And if you guys watching on Twitter, I appreciate you. We're going to spread the word, hopefully get a couple of people to get this thing into the algorithm so we can get more subscribers to the channel, to the YouTube channel. Please hit the subscribe button for your uncle. Until then, everyone have a great evening. We'll talk to you down the line. This has been Uncle Steve here in Uncle Steve's Lounge.
You're in Uncle Steve's Lounge. You're in Uncle Steve's